Welcome back. In this lecture, we are going to start work on the endpoints for the comments. Okay, so for that, let's go to the routes folder and create a new file with the name comment.routes.ts. Okay, first of all, I will create a constant router is equal to router and make sure to import the router from Express package. And now I will export this router as the default. Okay. Now here we need to add all of the endpoints by using router.get, and we will be using the path slash, and after that we need to pass the controller function that we will create shortly. For now I will keep it as it is, and then we need another for the post method that will be used for creating a comment, and then we need put method for updating a comment, and then we finally need the delete method to delete a comment. Okay, so we will pass the controller functions one by one when we will create them. We have to register this router in the entry file, that is index.ts. so let's create another line of code here with the base path API/comments, and we need to import the comment routes in the same way like we did for the other routes. Import it from the comment.routes file, and we will give it name comment routes. Now all of the endpoints related to the comments under this base path. So for example, you can send a post request to /API/comments. You can get the list of the comments by sending get request to this endpoint, and you can send a put request to this endpoint to update a comment, and finally you can send a delete request to this endpoint to delete that comment. Now let's go to the controllers function, and here I will create a new file with the name comment.controller.ts. Similarly, I need to create a service as well dedicated for the comment.service.ts. Now in this service, I need to create and export a function that will give us the list of all of the comments against a specific post ID. Okay, so for that, let's type the keyword export constant get comments. You can name it get post comments, and we will give it an async function that will be expecting the post ID from the parameter. And now I will return comment model dot find. Make sure to import the comment model from the models folder, and we are passing the object to the find all function. There we will use the where property to create the where condition, and in that we need to pass the post ID that will create an SQL condition for us in this way, where post ID is equal to post ID. Now go to the comment.controller. Here we need to register our first controller with the name export constant get post comments controller is equal to async function that will be getting the request and response from the parameter, and make sure to import the request from the Express to get the proper correct type suggestions. So also import the response from the Express. Great. Now I will define the Zod schema. Constant schema is equal to make sure to import the Z from the Zod, and then we will call the object function from it, and then we need to pass the object to define the shape of our data that we want to expect from the request.body. Okay, so for now we are just expecting only one property from the request.body, so I will use it. I will type post ID, and here the type of this post ID should be the number. All right, now I need to get the safe data by using safe parse function. I will pass the request.body here. Okay, now I will check if the success property is false, then we will terminate the process immediately, and we will send back the status 400 along with the error that will contain all of the reasons that are causing this request failure. Okay, now we will get the post ID from safe data.data. Now before fetching the comments, we will first get the post to verify if this post ID is valid or not. Okay, so for that I will create a constant post is equal to, we will use await to resolve the promise. Now use the function get post by id. Make sure to import this function from the post.service and pass it the post id that we got from the body. Now we will use the if condition to check if post was not found. Then we can simply throw an error with the message invalid post id, and we will send the status 400. But if post was found, then that's mean it is a correct post id. So now we can proceed. So in this condition, we are using the return statement that will immediately terminate the process, and any line below this line would never be executed. But if it is found, then this return statement would not be executed, and we can execute all of the lines below this. Okay, so now I will use a constant for the comments, and we will use the await, and we will call a function get post comments. So this is the function that we earlier created in the comment service, and we will pass it the post id. So it will give us an array of all of the comments against this specific post. Okay, now we will use the response.json function to pass the comments back to the client who is requesting. Now let's go back to the comment.routes, and we need to register this controller function get post comments controller. Make sure to import it from the comment.controller. Now let's test it. Go to the Postman, and first of all I want to test the validation if it is working. So http localhost 3000/API/comments and hit the send button. We will get the error from the Zord that post id is required. It was missing. Now let's pass the post id. By the way, we are using get method, so we will not pass the data from the body. We will be sending through the parameters. Okay, so for that let's define a parameter here. So for that, go to the comment.routes, and here I will add a parameter post id. Okay, now we need to get the parameter with the same name in our controller functions. So I will pass the params in this way. So in this way it will give me all of the params, and this param is an object that will have a shape like this, post id. Okay, so we will validate against this object, and if there is a property with the same name, then it will pass, otherwise it will stop the execution of this endpoint. Okay, now if you hit the send button, we will get the error that this is not found. There is no endpoint with this path because we have to pass the post id. I will send an invalid post id to see what happens. So I am getting an error that is saying that expected number received a string. Whenever you get the string from the parameter, it gives you a string even if it is a number. So we may have to parse it. So for that I can pass an object, and here I will add a post id is equal to parse int. So I'm just parsing it so that it can be purely a number. Now if you hit the send button, this time we got an error that invalid post id. So it basically checked the database to find the post against this id, and there was not post with that id. So that's why we got this error. Now I will pass it a correct id and see what happens. Actually, I think there is no post with that id. So let's go to the post table and see. Yes, there is no post with the id 1. So that's why it did not work. Now I'm going to pass the post id 2, hit the send button, and there is no comment against that post id. Now we need to create an endpoint that will create a comment against a specific post. So let's go to the comment.routes, and let's go to the comment.controller, and here I will create my controller to handle the request for creating a post. I will export it constant add comment controller async, and this async function will be receiving request and response as the parameter. And now we need to define our Zord schema to implement the validation. So create a variable schema is equal to z.object, and within that I have passed the post id and the content. These are the only fields that we want from the client side, but the user id will be extracted from the token. Right now we don't have any token, so I will just hard code the user id. But before that, let's complete the validation. So here I have called the safe parse function on the request.body. So if the data is valid based on these conditions, then we will get the success property to true. So I will check through the if condition. If save data dot success is false, then terminate the process by using the return keyword, and we are passing the 400 status, that is the error status, and we also are passing the error back to the client. If everything is correct, then we will proceed and we will extract the post ID and the content ID from the data. Now I will also create a constant to store the user ID. For now, I will add a hard-coded user ID 1. And now we need to get the post. Before adding the comment, we need to verify if the post ID is valid or not. It can be incorrect. So I will just create a constant to store the post and use the await keyword to resolve the promise, and use the get post by ID function post ID. Now make sure this function was imported from the post.service, and after that we will use the if condition. If post was not found, then we will terminate the process by using the return statement, and then we will send a status of 400, and we will send a JSON response back along with the property message saying that invalid post ID. Okay, but if post was found, then that's mean post ID was correct, so we can proceed further and we can add a comment. But before doing that, we need to create a function in the comment service to add the comment. So let's do that. I will export this constant add comment is equal to async, and it will be expecting the post ID, user ID, and the content. Now we will create a constant with the name comment, and we will save the instance of the comment model. Make sure the comment model is imported already. Now we will set the post ID that we got from the parameter to this to the instance of the comment, and we will repeat this process for all of the fields, for the user ID and for the content. Now we'll return the response of the save function. So we are basically calling the save function on this comment instance that will insert this new comment in the database. Save it. Now go to the comment.controller, and here I will create a constant to get the comment back from the service function, await add comment. Make sure to import the add comment function from the comment.service, and we are going to pass it all three parameters: post ID, user ID, and content. And once that is done, we will simply send the JSON response back along with the 200 status that is sent by default, and we are passing this comment. Now we need to register this controller function in the comment.routes file. So here we will pass a second argument with the name add comment controller. Make sure to import this controller function from comment.controller. Save it. Okay, now it's time to test it. So open the Postman, and I'm going to duplicate this, and this time I will use the post method, and we don't need to pass any ID in the URL. Use the body and use the raw here, and select the JSON type, pass an object, and here I need to pass a post ID. Actually, before doing anything, I will try the submit button and we will test the validation. So we can see that there is an ZOD error with all of the reasons. There are currently two reasons. One is that content is missing, and then post ID was required. So let's pass all of these. In the post ID, I will pass a string just to test the validation, and in the content, I will pass any content testing. Okay, hit the send button. This time we got only one issue, that is saying that post ID expected number received string. Okay, here now I will pass a pure number but invalid post ID. Okay, so now I got the error that is saying invalid post ID. Now I will pass the valid post ID. Hit the send button, and this time I got the comment object back. That's mean the comment was inserted in the database. We can verify by running the get method, and you will see there is only one comment under this post. You can also check it from the MySQL client. You can see this one comment was inserted. Okay, great. Now it's time to implement another endpoint to update this comment, because user may want to update the comment if they have made some mistakes. Then we should allow them to edit the comment and make those corrections. So first of all, we need to create a controller to make that change. So export that constant, export constant update comment controller, and similarly we are receiving request and response as the two parameters. So these parameters will be sent with the help of the express. And now we need to define our schema. So most of things would stay same. We need the schema object, we need the validation by running the save parse, and we also need to get some data. But this time we don't need the post id, we just need the comment id to update it. Okay, so I will paste it here as it is, but this time instead of post id we need the comment id. Here let's replace the post id with the comment id. First thing to check if comment id is valid, then we need to check if current user is the owner of the comment, because only owner should be allowed to update this comment. And finally we will update the comment. So let's do that. We need to get the comment by id by using the service function. So let's create a variable constant comment is equal to await get comment. Actually we did not create any service function with that name yet, so let's do that. In the comment.service I will export a constant with the name get comment by id, and we will assign it an async function that will be expecting only one parameter, that is comment id. And now we will return comment model dot find by pk, and we'll pass it the primary key, that is comment id. Okay, now we can use this function here. Make sure to import this function from the comment service like this. We need to pass it the comment id, and after that we will use the if condition. If comment is not found, then we will terminate the process with the status 400 with the message invalid comment id. Okay, and after that I will use the if condition. If actually before that, let me hard code the user id that will be replaced later in next lectures. So after this I will create a constant user id is equal to 1, that is hard coded user id. All right, now I will check if comment dot user id is not equal to the current user id, then that's mean this user is not authorized to update this comment. So I will immediately terminate the process with the status 400, and the client will get the message in the response that you are not the owner of this comment. Okay, you can set any other message, it's totally up to you. And once everything is fine, here we will finally update the comment. So for that we need to create a function in the comment service to update the comment. So here I will use export constant update comment, and we will assign it async function that will be expecting comment id of type number and the content that we want to update of type string. Okay, and now here we will create a constant to store the comment that will save the comment that we will fetch from the given comment id is equal to await get comment by id and pass it the comment id. Okay, now we will check if comment was not found, then we will simply throw an error that comment not found. And here I will use comment dot content is equal to content that we got from the parameter, and we will return the response of the save function on the comment model save. Okay, great. Now close it, and here we will create a constant to save the updated comment is equal to await. Make sure to import the update comment function from the comment service and pass it all of the required parameters, comment id and the content. And once that is done, we will return the response, and we will call the function json to pass the updated comment. Okay, save it. Now make sure to register this controller in the comment.routes function. So here I will pass a second argument that will be the controller function add update comment controller. Make sure to import this function from the comment.controller. Save it. Now it's time to test it. Earlier we created a comment with the id 1 with the content testing. So I want to update this. So for that I will duplicate this tab, and here this time I will use the put method, and in the body I want to pass the comment id 1 this time, and I want to update the comment to hello world. and hit the send button. Alright, the content was updated. You can see that in the updated comment object that we returned from this controller here. Okay, so that's mean it is working. Now if you go back to the get method and see the list of the comments, you will notice that content has been updated. Alright, now we have to implement one final endpoint to delete it. So for that, go to the comment.controller. We have to define another constant function, and we will export it as well. Export constant delete comment controller, that will be getting the request and response as the parameter. And here, first of all, we need to define the Zord schema, z.object, and pass it an object that will expect only one property, comment ID of type number. And now I will parse it by using the safe parse, and now we will check if validation failed. Then we will terminate the process and we will send the status of 400 along with all of the reasons that are causing this failure. Now I am extracting the comment ID from the safe data.data property, and now we will hard code the ID. We need the user ID of the current user because we don't want to allow anybody to delete a comment. Only authorized user who is the owner of this comment should be able to delete this comment. Okay, so for that, first of all, I will check if comment is valid, and then I will check if current user is the owner of the comment, and finally I will delete the comment. Okay, so let's do that. First of all, I need to create a constant with the name comment that will hold the comment of this given comment ID. So for that, I will await and use the get comment by ID function that we have in the comment service and pass it the comment ID. And now I will use the if condition. If comment is not found, then terminate the process immediately along with the status 400 and message invalid comment ID that would be sent to the back to the client response. Now we will check if current user is the owner of the comment. For that, I will use the if condition. Comment.user ID is not equal to the user ID or current user ID. Then we will terminate the process by using the return statement. Now we are sending back the response to the client with the status 400 along with the JSON message with the property message, you are not the owner of the comment. And finally, we will delete the comment if everything is fine. But we don't have the function in the comment service to delete a comment, so we have to go to that file and define that function as well. So let's do that. Export constant delete comment, and this async function will be expecting only the comment ID, nothing else, because that is all we need. Now first of all, we need to get the comment that we want to delete, get comment by ID. So we are basically using our own function that is already defined in this service that will fetch the comment from the database and pass it the comment ID. Now we will use the if condition. If comment was not found, then we can simply throw the error that will immediately stop the execution here and throw an error back to the application. And here, if everything was fine, we will simply call the destroy function on the comment model that will delete the comment from the database. Save it. Now it's time to import that function and call it. So for that, I will type the function delete comment. In the suggestion, just select this, press enter. It will be imported from the comment service. Okay, after that, we need to call that function and pass it the comment ID that we are trying to delete, comment ID. And before that, I need to add the await, and we will then send back the deleted comment by using return response.json and pass it the comment that we fetched earlier above here. Okay, great. Now we have to register this endpoint in our comment.route. So in the last delete method, I will pass the parameter update comment controller. Make sure to, it should be the delete comment controller. Make sure to import this function from the comment.controller. Save it. Now it's time to test it. Go to the Postman and duplicate this tab, and instead of post method, I can use the delete method. Go to the body and I will remove the content, actually remove everything, and test if the validation is working. Yes, validation is working. Now we need to pass the comment ID in the body, comment ID, and now we will pass it an invalid comment ID like this. This doesn't exist, so I just want to see if it handles the error properly. Okay, I got the error back, invalid comment ID. Now let's pass the valid comment ID and see if it is able to delete that. All right, we got the original object of that comment. That means the comment is deleted. We can double check by reloading this. You can see all comments are gone. You can go to the get method, hit that button again. You will see we have the empty array on that endpoint. All right, I think that's all for this lecture. Thank you for completing this lecture. See you in the next video.